How much should you spend to get a second passport? How you answer that question may determine which route you take to getting your second citizenship. If you're not lucky enough to have citizenship by descent, where you can get a citizenship through your parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, then you're going to need to choose. Am I going to become a citizen of another country through naturalization, through biding my time? Am I going to make an investment and get that passport instantly? Am I going to look at other options? Knowing how much you're willing to spend, knowing how much you're willing to invest will greatly influence your options. I'm going to walk you through a couple of different strategies that I share with the people I help to help you determine the value of a second passport. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. Here at Nomad Capitalist, we have a team of almost 30 people and a network all around the world that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs legally go where they're treated best, whether it's getting their second citizenship or lowering their taxes offshore. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. And I want to talk about the two different perspectives that I've shared with you for years now, the reasons why you might have a second passport. You might fall into one category or both, and that is the Plan A versus Plan B. Are you someone who needs a second passport now because there's an opportunity cost affecting you? Or are you looking for a Plan B because you believe something bad could happen in your country? Taxes are going up. Your country may become less relevant or less welcome around the world. Citizenship insurance, as I call it. And quite frankly, if you are a high earner, if you do have a high net worth, I think you should have citizenship insurance because to me, it is one of the last forms of diversification that many wealthy people simply don't have, right? And so let me walk you through the process. Plan A would be, I'm a citizen of a country that has bad visa-free travel in a normal travel environment. And I have an opportunity cost that I can't go and do business deals. I can't go and do meetings because every time I'm going to apply for a visa to go to Europe, to go to the US, to go to all these different places, it just takes a long time. Sometimes I get rejected. I have to, it's just so much hassle and it's wasting my time. I'm going to get a passport to make my life better. Versus the Plan B of, I think taxes are going up. Now, let me walk you through the first part, the Plan A, opportunity cost. This could also apply to someone who is living in a high tax country, and by getting a second passport, they can remove themselves from that high tax country, and they can save themselves a lot of money in taxes being a citizen of a much more tax-friendly country. And so ask yourself, what is the opportunity cost? If I am a Chinese business person and I am wasting 5 days a year filling out visa applications and I have to hire an extra assistant to help me keep everything in order, the assistant costs $12,000 a year plus 5 days of my time. I make $5 million a year, $100,000 of my time, it's a $112,000 opportunity cost. And maybe there's just some frustration you want to add on there. Maybe you just hate going and waiting in lines, you're sick of the process, and so you can add something on extra for that. Now, let's say that you are the American business person. I had a gentleman recently who came to me, and he was originally from India, but he had a U.S. green card. And it was coming up to a situation where if he did not relinquish his green card, he was going to become a long-term green card holder. And when he left the United States, this big business he had built up was going to be subject to the same exit tax as U.S. citizens. And so he had to make a decision, go back to being just an Indian citizen, or get a second passport in the next year that would allow him to have pretty good travel privileges that he'd been relying on this green card to help him with. And then leave the U.S. And so for him, it was going to be something like $1 million in exit tax that he would have to pay if he gave up his green card later. Plus, on top of that, his income taxes were getting pretty high. And so he decided, hey, listen, this is millions of dollars at stake here. I'm going to take, even if I can pay half of that, he said, even if I can pay $500,000 on the exit tax and then the income tax is gravy, that's worth it. There is an ROI. I think you should always look at that ROI. Now, let's talk about the Plan B side of things. You're looking for a citizenship insurance policy, and we've had a lot of that in 2020. People are worried about the election. They're worried about the direction their country is going, not only in the United States, but I'm starting to hear from other people who are seeing, oh, Australia can lock me in my house for as long as they want. I can't leave my country. This isn't the free country that I thought it is. or they're looking at all the travel restrictions. My country didn't handle the pandemic as well as the rest of the world would have wanted. I'm not welcome to travel. And so this is citizenship by insurance. You can also be insuring against rising taxes, wealth taxes. It's your bug out plan, your escape plan. And so I look at it from two perspectives, income and assets. I have one gentleman who doesn't have a super high net worth. He's got a couple $1,000,000. And so the idea of, for a larger family, spending $200,000 on citizenship by investment to get the job done quickly, that's about 7, 8, 9% of his net worth. But he's got a multi-million-dollar income, and so his net worth is going to go up over time. And so from an income perspective, spending $200,000, that's basically 1 month of his income. And not only are we getting him the second passport, we're also helping him leave his high tax country and move to a lower tax country. So as we reduce his taxes, he's basically going to cash flow that $200,000 that he needs to pay 6 months from now once his passport is issued in the Caribbean, and he needs to send the donation to the country. So he gets to basically enjoy the tax savings now, build up the money, and then send that donation once he's approved and once his family is approved. And so from my perspective, that makes a lot of sense, because you're basically saying, hey, for the month of January, I'm going to earn nothing. And I'm going to put that money towards a lifelong insurance policy so that no matter what happens in my country, I'm covered. I have somewhere else to go. To me, that makes a lot of sense. And you can determine, what percentage of your income makes sense. Certainly to me, a month makes sense. Maybe a couple of months makes sense. Now, the other perspective is the net worth. I had a gentleman who came to me, sold a company for $200 and some million. Right? He had some income from some investments, but it paled in comparison to $200 million. And so, from his perspective, it was, what percentage of my net worth am I willing to peel off? And this is where I look at it from an insurance company's perspective, is imagine you've got a house that's worth $1 million. And the annual premium to protect and rebuild your house, if it was burned by a fire, is $500,000. Would you pay a $500,000 insurance premium to protect against a $1 million event? Of course you wouldn't. You'd probably rebuild the house for less than that anyway. Right? So you wouldn't do that. Would you pay $5,000? Yeah, you probably would. Whatever the normal premium is, it's a good risk transfer. And so what is that number for you? And I think looking at it actuarially, let's say you're a citizen of the United States. What's the percentage that the United States is going to impose a wealth tax on its citizens, and you may want to opt out of that? I think at some level, the chances in the next 10 years are relatively high. And so what am I willing to invest to be able to escape that? And so there's all kinds of different risk factors. But I think if you look at it from those perspectives, what's the opportunity cost now? And what portion of my income and or net worth am I willing to set aside to buy insurance? Listen, nobody likes to buy car insurance. I don't have a car anymore, but when I lived in the United States, of course, I had a car. And I put the insurance on auto pay and I forgot about it. But, whenever I wanted to go and switch my insurance policy, it was miserable. I mean, who wants to pay money to protect, in the rare event that you're going to, drive in and smash into some guy's car? And fortunately, I never had to use my insurance, but am I glad I had it? Of course I am. I don't think you would feel good driving a car around knowing that you might hit some guy's Ferrari, or that you might, God forbid, hurt someone and be out hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so if you're wealthy or if you're a high earner, these are the formulas that I look at. Opportunity cost, percentage of income, percentage of assets. If you look at that and you honestly say, what's the chance of each of these things happening? If you're paying the taxes now, it's a 100% chance you're going to be paying those taxes. So that plan A is definitely easy to plan for. On all the other stuff, I think it's worth having an honest conversation with yourself. If you can take a month's income, or if you can take 1 or 2 or 3% of your net worth and do that, that makes sense to me. The last question then is difference between sunk costs and investments. If you have a decent net worth but not an ultra high net worth, let's say you have $7 or $8 million, do you want to take $250,000 of that? Well, you certainly could afford to do that. You could certainly afford to keep making investments. Could you sink $250,000? Sure. But would you rather invest $500,000 somewhere and have $30,000 or $40,000 in fees? That might be more palatable. Keep it on the books. And I think being aware of which one feels more comfortable for you. Do you loathe seeing money fall off your balance sheet because it's going out the door to pay a citizenship donation, for example, to get that Plan B immediately? Or would you rather wait a little while, have a lesser form of insurance for a few years with, let's say, a European golden visa, and know that you don't have quite the level of insurance yet, but you're working towards it, and that money stays in the balance sheet, and perhaps you earn a return? Again, these are all questions that you have to answer for yourself and for your own personality, but those are three formulas that I look at when I'm talking to folks. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.